Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans by wrestling fans on the web today. I'm John. That's my caller and commentary Ashton. And this is the week in review. Gonna be honest with you guys, I was a bit checked out this week. Between stuff going on in the world and me giving more bandwidth to that, and also just everything WWE is doing right now leading up to a Saudi show, which we historically just have never reacted to or given much engagement to. I've been kind of on autopilot. Now, I've watched YouTube clips and including the full match uploads that they do, for each show. So I'm aware enough of what's happening, but if there are some gaps in my conversational ability, I apologize. Because again, I am a bit checked out. But I will say to start in our conversation about this week, when I look at the two champions, Cody and Priest, I have to give Priest credit. I thought Priest had a very strong week this week as far as his promo with Drew. I saw you guys in the Discord talking about how Drew got one upped on the mic in a rare instance. And I would agree when you look at it. Like Priest, what I really liked about it was, and I say this as a guy that's been critical of Judgment Day's booking. Rhea's very clearly the leader, which is not a diss, but it's like, the male members aren't looking so strong. It's not a strong faction as a whole like Roman's bloodline looked like, every so often, especially when you had main event Jey Uso in the ranks. But he's really stepped up, as an individual, as a singles competitor. He just by the week, I think, becomes more believable as a world champion. I still don't know the overall direction they want to go with him. Like, do they want to turn him face and have Balor and McDonough and Dom turn heel on him? Or is he just going to be a heel and one of them, maybe Finn, is sympathetic because I know Finn can be a very strong babyface. We've seen it in the past. But then you look at Cody, and he's got this thing going on with Logan Paul. And you know what's funny, bro? Because I watched the contract signing they did on Friday. And for one thing, Logan weaseling out of making it a champion versus champion match. I don't know if this is just going to be like the scenic route to getting there anyway, rather than just doing the damn thing, or if it is just going to be the world title on the line. Obviously, I'd be annoyed if it was the former because I know you and I know when AEW did it with that fatal four way with the pillars, we were annoyed that they took the scenic route when you could have just been building from that match straight up. And if you're going to do both titles on the line, let's not, make it a production. Let's just do it. But if it is just a world title match, I gotta say, I am so averse to Cody being champion. And I'm gonna try and be more, less hyperbolic and cursing him out and just being very straightforward my grievances. I just feel like Cody makes everybody in his orbit more boring. And that was how I felt during this contract signing, because I have to give Logan credit. I mean, he's a piece of shit as a human being, right? And I never want anybody to forget that or myself to forget that. But I realized how invested I was with him being US champion because the idea that he's not even defending his title, and I wouldn't want him to defend it against Cody because I just think that's a foregone conclusion. But the idea that he's not in like a mid to upper mid card program revolving around that title with somebody else, I feel like, I'm like, damn, I kind of missed that because I really was enjoying the stuff he was doing with Randy and, of course, KO. And now here with Cody, and I don't think it's just because LOL Cody wins, though that's a big part of it. It's just I'm again, I use the word checked out or the phrase checked out. It was a fine segment. I think Logan got decent heat, again, finagling out of it being a title versus title matchup. But then Cody does this grandstanding. Like, I feel like it almost comes off to me. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the phrase imposter syndrome, but it's when you're in a specific like field or activity, football, basketball, whatever, any kind of sphere of life, and you feel like you don't deserve to be there. Like you succeed, but you don't believe your own success. And sometimes Cody comes off like he's suffering from that imposter syndrome. Like he wants to convince himself not just that he's a champion, but he's the guy with the way he carries himself. And to me, like, I'm not buying what he's selling. I know many people are, and that's totally fine. And I'm glad there are a lot of people genuinely enjoying the reign, and he's still, doing numbers and he's still moving merch. But for me, I just look at this and I'm like, man, this is actually making Logan Paul worse to me because I wish he would be defending the US title against like, I know he's on Raw, but like a Ricochet or, fucking SmackDown wise. Fuck, maybe a returning Jimmy Uso. I don't fucking know. Just some mid card person that could use the rub. And instead, I feel like he's kind of being wasted on
Grayson
this.
Waller.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Or no,
somebody like
you're
that.
talking about Logan Paul, so you're talking about like baby faces. So Waller wouldn't
Yeah,
work.
I'm struggling a bit to come up with babyfaces on the SmackDown side.
Let
Maybe
me.
it's not
You know what
even.
I'm gonna do? I'm gonna pull up the SmackDown roster and name some names. Okay.
There you go.
Let's see. How about I don't know Andrade?
That would amazing already. Like if I knew that we were getting Logan versus Andrade at the show, I mean, obviously we wouldn't react to it regardless, but that would be if I was reading spoilers because I do that a lot for Saudi shows. I'll go like no DQ or some dirt sheet site that actively covers these shows. I would absolutely read the recap for that match and be like, God, I hope when I reach the end of this, it says Andrade is the champion. I just feel like this is a depreciation to me of Logan in my eyes and his heat because it's like heat's being transferred to Cody being the overcoming babyface when it's like you've already beaten the greatest title reign in this era. What more do you need? I don't know, man. When you look at because let's circle back to how I started this comparing the two champions. How are you vibing with Priest as champion from your personal experience as a fan? And I don't need to ask you about Cody, but how do you feel about this feud with Logan specifically? I guess is how I can get Cody in the conversation because I already know how you feel about him individually.
Okay, so regarding Priest, I think he's actually doing a better job than I expected him to. I think
Yeah,
we already know that we love his voice just because he's got that deep, sort of bellowing um, tone,
yeah.
just vocally. But I think he's actually, I like what he's been saying lately too. I think he actually one ups Drew McIntyre on the mic this week, and that's not an easy thing to do, especially lately when Drew has been so in his pocket as a talker. So really, really do want to give props to Priest as a talker lately and as a champion in general. Um, I honestly couldn't even tell you who he's facing at the Saudi show. I don't know if he even has a match.
I don't think he has a match yet. I want to ask you about that too. Do you think that they're gonna like make him and Drew a multi-match program? Because they gotta stretch this out to Clash. Because I just imagine Drew's either facing Punk or a world champion at Clash.
Yeah.
That's just always been like in my mind. Um, so I don't know if they just do Drew versus Priest at Saudi. We know Drew has no qualms competing on the Saudi shows. He faced Seth for the world heavyweight title, and one of their matches was at a Saudi show.
Yeah.
So I could absolutely see that.
Yeah, I can imagine
Um,
it. Like I wouldn't it's not one of those things where I think it's hard to believe that they would do that, but I'm just it I think that what's really going on right now is it feels a lot like the WWE is kind of spinning their wheels until the Saudi show. And like that's not even fair. I shouldn't say that. That's disrespectful because what they're really just doing is they're focusing on the tournaments. They're really just
yeah,
emphasizing these tournaments. And if you're into the tournaments, then awesome. You're obviously really into the product right now. But in my case, I am not really into specifically single elimination tournaments, which is what this is. That's what King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring have always has been for as long as they've existed. And that's just not the type of tournament that I like to watch. It's not something that I'm really interested in. But that's a preference thing. You know, there are plenty of people who don't have any kind of problem with it at all, who enjoy it and who are really into it right now. And hey, props to you. Uh, so as far as that stuff goes, that's kind of what they have going on. But because of that, the champions that are new champions do feel a little bit um not really like pushed aside. It's more just like they kind of feel like they're coasting right now. Like Priest doesn't really feel like he's in a program with anyone right now. It just kind of feels like he is the champion and whatever comes his way is just kind of what happens and that's just kind of it, you know? And like Cody is in a program technically with Logan Paul, but like I don't know what the fuck they're doing with it because they're now all of a sudden like it's going to be for both titles, I guess. I don't even know what they're doing, man.
yeah, that's the thing. Like, if you look at the contract signing now, it just seems like it's going to be for Cody's championship because Logan had a new contract drafted up. So again, they get that heat of like, oh, you thought it was going to be a double title match, and your hero Cody was going to become a Grand Slam champion, but my attorney got me out of that, and it's like it's
Well,
fine. I
that's
don't want to
good
say.
though, because I was dreading the idea of Cody being a double champion and holding world and US gold at the same time.
I mean, you and me both. You and me both. It's just why, like, why even tease that it was going to be title versus title unless they're planning something. Like I don't know, man. I'm
Well, I
still a
mean,
bit
dude,
weird
maybe
that
the
something.
reason that they teased it was for what you said, the heat, so that they could get more heat on Logan and rip it away from Cody, you know?
Yeah, that is very true.
They
I
they
just
literally, dude, I'm telling you, WWE Triple H specifically has his finger on the pulse of how to keep baby faces over more than I think Vince ever did.
yeah, that's fair.
And
That's
I
fair.
think that one of the ways that they are doing that is by pretending like they're going to give the babyface something and then taking it away. And
Yeah,
like they took away Cody's main event at WrestleMania until there was so much fan backlash because that is like that was the inciting incident. Like the segment in the ring where Cody handed the main event of WrestleMania over to The Rock was what got the people to backlash and got people to be like all riled up for Cody and like the we want Cody movement and all that bullshit was it literally never would have happened and Cody's momentum probably would have I don't want to say died, but it definitely would have slowed if everything would have just gone as everyone expected with Cody getting his title shot and winning. It was the fact that Triple H threw that wrench in the plan of The Rock being the one that is going to challenge Roman for the title. That wrench being thrown into the plan is what kept Cody as monumentally over as he stayed. I don't think that that would have maintained as well as it would have without that happening. So I think that this is another example of that, where like they kind of do this tease, and it might have even been Cody going into business for himself too, where Cody's like, maybe it wasn't even something that he was supposed to say of him being like, oh, I only need to hold it. The U.S. title is the only title keeping me from being a Grand Slam champion, and that little tease wasn't even necessarily part of the plan. Maybe that was just again like Cody going into business for himself. It wouldn't be the first time he's done it.
certainly true. Certainly true. I say we table this because I will say too with these tournaments, some interesting things have been developing. Mainly, I'm starting to discern when we speak about Triple H, the matches that he sees as like higher profile, bigger money matches, not completely unjustifiably. For example, you can definitely tell he's protecting Bianca versus Jade
Yes.
because Bianca beat Tiffany, but Jade lost to Nia via disqualification. So Jade has
Yes.
still not been pinned or submitted. And they were kind of teasing each other, like, that competitive spirit of, who's going to get farther in the tournament. Well, it seems like Bianca will, just because, again, Jade did not beat Nia. And then, and I should have seen this, admittedly, and I was kind of jumping the gun because of reports that we've seen about Dragunov, and internally they better be valuing Gunther, and I certainly think they are. Gunther beats Kofi dominantly. I love that this dude, again, because of who he is, old school is new school again, beats Kofi with the fucking double leg crab. Amazing. Love it. It's perfect. But Ilya loses to Jay Uso. Now, for one thing, I love that we're running back Jay versus Gunther because honestly, like that's a match that to me is more of a coin toss because we know Jay had Gunther beat last time when the IC title was on the line, if not for Jimmy Uso.
Of
So you can't
course,
count
his
Jay out of it.
bum ass, disloyal ass brother.
Well, yeah, and then he got the shit beat out of him because that's what you get when your sole quality is being a twin. Um, And so we can't count Jay out of it because in kayfabe, he's shown himself very capable of beating Gunther. And then on Gunther's side, he's Gunther. That is the argument. But they are saving Gunther Ilya. And I want to be very careful with my words here so people know what I'm saying versus what I'm not saying because I fully expect Gunther to be a future world heavyweight champion. Do not be surprised if him versus Ilya main events a PLE in the future for that title. Because in my mind, Triple H is like, these are my guys. This is my generation of like main event talent right here that I'm really gonna hone in on and do everything with. So I'm fully expecting that to be cultivated and built up appropriately. I don't mind Ilya in ring again. I do think he's a bit extra in some ways, and I do think he is part of the crop that's kind of forgotten the art of selling. Gunther, meanwhile, I mean, my God, folks, literally pick any episode since he's debuted, and you'll see me just praise him, and that has not changed. You know who else is getting a lot of praise, though? And again, what I find interesting about these tournaments, dude, Io's wrestling has been so good on Raw. She might be turning babyface just from how good she is alone. The crowd was really into her match with Shayna on Monday. Um, As they should be, because she's still, all this time later, one of the best wrestlers in the world. I know we're really dialed in on Stardom and soon to be Marigold. But Io's still doing her damn thing out here. And like, let's not disrespect Shayna either. She held her own, and like we already knew that she had really solid matches with Kyrie, but I will concede that I do think Io on the whole is the better worker in the ring. And so when you have great matches with Kyrie, who's already no slouch, when you get to be with somebody like the caliber of Io, you're gonna cook. And these women cooked, but Io did win. The crowd gave it a genuine "This is awesome" chant. It seemed quite loud in the arena. I think this woman's gonna get over, and I think her wrestling's gonna turn her babyface. And then what do you do though? Because Damage Control very clearly, I think, is on the cusp of feuding with Becky for that championship. I know Liv is kind of in the foreground right now, but assuming she just doesn't win right away, which I think you personally have been leaning towards, Damage Control's got to be in the rotation, and like was wrestling out of her goddamn mind. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was a split crowd when it came time for Becky versus Io personally. What do you think? I know you're the Io expert, and you've been her A1 day one fan wise. So what
I,
do you think about all this?
yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not surprised in the least bit that Io is ba- basically getting over as a baby face despite being a heel. That's literally what happened in Stardom. Like she created Queen's Quest and was a heel for like a month before the crowd turned her face again. And to the point that like she literally was shaking hands with Mayu like a month after betraying her because the crowd just wasn't accepting her as a heel.
Just looking at Mayu like, I can see that you've grown so much from a betrayal that this just retroactively puts me in the right. You're welcome, Mayu. You're welcome.
And Mayu's just like, and I can see from the crowd's reaction that if I don't accept your hand here, they're going to turn on me. So, yes, yes, we're friends again.
Amazing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was fucking incredible. And I am thoroughly looking forward to finding her match versus Bianca in the VOD of the Saudi show on Peacock after it's over to watch.
Yeah, I mean, dude, we know that Io and Bianca have cooked before. Let's not forget about Backlash in Puerto Rico. What was it, just last year?
Dude, I know, but that
Um,
crowd was so different. That crowd was so like one-sided in favor of EO. I think a lot of it has to do with just the fact that Bianca was the defending champion, and the crowd felt like EO deserved her due at that point, and they were just super behind her, and probably also because they had never seen her before. So I think it's going to be more of like a really fun back and forth like split crowd this time, or at least I hope it is.
Yeah, yeah, I'm very curious myself to hear the fan reaction because I just noticed like, man, Io's in her bag right now. It's not like she was phoning it in on SmackDown. I'm not trying to imply that, but there just seems to be a different energy now that she's on Raw. Maybe Io growing up, I don't know, because she's been a fan of WWE for a long time, especially Rey Mysterio, which is weird because I associate his career WWE wise more with SmackDown than with Raw. But maybe she was like, oh yeah, Raw's the flagship show. Once I go there, I'll really be able to build a legacy. And man, is she ever like, whatever she's getting paid, she's earning every goddamn penny of it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I will say too, I am enjoying, the people winning in their tournament matches and stuff happening there. But you know what else I'm enjoying? And I know
My
this is gonna put
face.
me, well, always, obviously. But what I'm really enjoying, which is gonna definitely put me on the outs with a lot of people, I'm really enjoying douchebag Gable. I mean,
Oh
man, he
God,
just slapped Otis right in the fucking
I'm
face.
not at all surprised that you're enjoying him, but he makes me uncomfortable.
Good. He's a heel. So
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right, but at the same time, like, no.
yeah, but at the same time, yeah. Because I mean, how many fucking PTSD memories are people having from either that really hard coach or worse, that strict parent that wanted their child to be an athlete because they were never a successful athlete? I mean, goddamn, he's really encapsulating that piece of shit energy so perfectly. Oh, Otis, you lost. How could you embarrass me out there? Like, he's great. Like,
There's an
I
extra
stand,
added level of discomfort for me
yeah.
because I grew up a fat kid. So seeing Otis out there as another big dude taking it is literally like looking at like a younger version of myself, straight up.
And see, I'm first of all, I do want to thank you sincerely for like sharing that because I do take vulnerability on both of our sides seriously because we've both done it through the years. But this is why though, if it's anywhere as good, and I mean, let's be honest, that was flaming neon. I'm not saying that's my expectation, but if it's anywhere as good as how they portrayed Jay sympathetically being a victim of abuse, when Otis finally stands up to Gable, the pop's going to be insane. Like that, like if I'm being completely serious, yes, I'm enjoying Gable, but I'm enjoying it. Hopefully, I know what we talk about, hoping for a good thing, all this stuff, but I'm kind of renewed optimism with Triple H in charge and seeing that WWE definitely seems to be more in favor of long term storytelling. The idea of Otis standing up to Gable, I've even seen people go as far as to say, bro, that if Gable wins the IC title, they would love for Otis to be the one to take it off them. And when I read that, I'm
Yeah, that would be
like,
really cool.
yeah. Yeah, like I am 1000% for that. And you know that he's an effective heel when Foster, who I go on record once again in saying the sweetest person on the goddamn planet. I love you so much, Foster, and I'm still committed to protecting you from the bloodline. Absolutely. So yeah, when you've got people like Foster even saying like, "Hey, Gable, fuck you." And, it really shows like what a great job he's doing. Personally, and I've gone on record and said this too, I don't really care for the triple threat match at King and Queen of the Ring, mainly because of Bronson. Bronson does not do it for me. No disrespect to his fans, because I think Foster is still one. And obviously, Foster, I love you more than like 90% of the planet. But I really, he's just not a compelling big man. I really honestly, ever since Gunther kind of happened, I'm just like, okay, well, good luck, everybody else. Good luck
You're
popping me.
obsolete now, Bronson. Have fun
E-
being less than.
Exactly. And you too, Strowman, thinking you can waltz back in here with your fucking haircut that should just be fully shaved. Like, why are you trying to make hair work? The scalp disagrees.
It
Fuck.
really does, bro. He's Bronson or Braun, actually. Braun, you know you're not a Hollywood actor, right? You don't need to keep your hair for movies like Cena. You can shave it. It's okay,
And with Cena, it's bad enough, but I think he can sleep again after Braun showed up on screen.
right?
Um, so yeah, just a lot of interesting things happening there. I am just ultimately when it comes to Gable though, because with Otis, would not mind him stepping up to Gable for the IC title, win or lose. That dude needs bigger shit to do. I think he's a bigger star, honestly, at this point than what he's doing. And I think what he's been doing has cooled him off a bit, which is a shame because I would like to think that I've been a pretty consistent Otis advocate on here. And that has not changed. I'm still waiting though for Gable to link up with I was going to say Alpha Academy. Obviously, that's not a Creed Bros. I always get those two mixed up. And I also want to say American Alpha sometimes because I still low key miss that tag team, but
Oh
Jason Jordan is
man,
doing great as a producer.
what a
So,
great time that was.
indeed, not as great a time as your face, though.
I
See,
feel so old.
I know we are old.
Am I in the
Uh,
way?
not yet. Not
I
yet.
do miss the way, to be fair.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so I'm liking what Gable and Alpha Academy are doing or not doing, as far as not winning him that IC championship and kind of blustering things there, but they'll find their footing, maybe possibly, eventually. Um, he called Maxine Taylor not so swift to Ivy, and I'm like, this is Carlton Banks and his douche era. He really is Kurt Angle's son, because when you go and you watch Kurt Angle's early promos, like it's uncanny, which I have. I'm just going to skip ahead and say for extracurriculars, I have watched more Attitude Era, like ruthless aggression stuff a little bit this week. And one of the things I watched was like earlier Kurt promos, like early 2000s.
Wow.
And man, the dude, like, put some respect on Kurt's name because his name's been floating around more recently. Like, where does Kurt fit into the scheme? He's a goat for me. Whatever you want to say about Kurt as a person or some of the demons he battled with, just in the ring and as a character, I'd kill for more Kurt angles today. Looking at you, Stevenson. Fucking Christ. Um,
Bro, did you
so
see? I love how there's literally a report now that said like, oh yeah, no, WWE released him because he wasn't getting good fast enough. Nothing to do with the legal troubles. So like they're reassuring us like, no, WWE didn't grow a conscience. He just wasn't good enough for them.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Um, Yeah, Lyra continues to impress. Loving her on Raw right now. She has a backstage segment with Liv where Liv tries to talk trash to Becky behind her back to Lyra. And Lyra's like, "Oh, well, Why don't you ask Becky herself? Because I think Liv asked, "Has Becky always been such a bitch?"
Yeah, I saw
Uh,
that. Yeah. Oh God.
a- and then she turns around and Becky hits one of the weirdest looking punches I've seen in a minute. But I will say what I enjoyed about this was fans were rushing like, "Oh my god, that's the same way she punched Dom." Further proof that they're doing stuff together. And I'm just waiting for Rhea to like check Twitter for 2 seconds because that video of him leaving her locker room or like Liv leaving his locker room and then him following behind, that's been circulating for a while now. And I'm like, Rhea, I know you're engaged with your fans. You can't tell me you didn't see this. Like, are you gonna talk to him? Um, and I can already say honestly that I do miss Rhea on the product, and it's just a shame that
Don't
she
we
can be.
all, man? Don't we
Yeah,
all?
yeah, like her absence is palpable to me. Um, and oh, according to Foster, apparently Finn has something to do with the live story too. Can you contextualize that for us any further, Ashton? Because I don't know what he's talking about
I
personally.
don't know.
All right, well then, Foster, I'm going to leave it to your handsome face to contextualize this further since
Yeah,
you
clearly
introduced it
we
into the
need
Discord.
handsomeness to explain this.
Well, obviously, handsomeness literally solves everything. And that may not be true,
Just
but
ask
I don't
Adam
care.
Cole.
I'm right. Exactly. God. Oh, yeah. Speaking of Finn, though, him and JD are going to challenge for the tag titles. And, I'm going to be honest. Let's just, I don't like these contenders. I actually just kind of miss Finn as a fiery babyface in singles, which just goes to show that I guess the heel turn's working for something. And I like our truth and everything, but I'm hoping that this Awesome Truth tag title reign doesn't go on too much longer. Because honestly, I just keep thinking about Gable and Creed Bros running shop, and I want Creed Bros as heels to be the next tag team champions. So that's just me
Bro,
putting
I
my
know
desire
it's
on
not just me because I get to hear my mom bitch about it every week, but is it is it something that you can relate to being sick and tired of the WWE writing our truth like he's actually just like got Alzheimer's or something?
Yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from because I have seen other fans be like, and I just feel like it's been disproven at this point, where it's like, oh, what if all the silliness and stuff, what if it's just mind games and he's just incredibly cerebral? And it's like, no, no, they just mean for him to be a goof. But like that interpretation would have been a lot more fascinating. If he did all this silly stuff and when the bell rang, it's like, wait, what the hell? Like, how is this happening to me? But no, it's just a goof the whole way through. And it gets a little old. It's good in small doses, I would say personally, speaking for myself. So I definitely get where you're coming from.
Yeah. So
Um,
anyway, it's just a it's getting nerve wracking. And I love our truth too. He's a fantastic performer.
oh,
I just
absolutely.
wish that he wasn't given this kind of material to perform to such a like cartoonish degree.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, Speaking of Judgment Day, while we're on this subject, my new favorite shitbag, at least for the month, Carlito, kind of wa- warming up to the Judgment Day as his upper lip cools down from that shave job.
Oh God,
Um,
it's hideous.
It is, and I love it.
You're into
God,
it? Oh
oh,
no.
I'm into people that are unapologetically sleaze that doesn't carry over IRL like Joey Ryan because fuck Joey
Wait, but
Ryan.
why weren't you into it when Tamatonga looked like Maven?
I mean,
What's the
there's a limit.
difference?
There's a limit, and
I don't understand. I'm sorry.
it's okay. Just respect it. Just calm down and respect. So Carlito, did help Finn and JD McDonald's become number
Ew.
one contenders. And that insult actually works. Experimentally McDonald's, supports Israel, financially, so fuck them twice. So yeah,
I
he
mean, bro,
helped
I'm
him.
sure you don't even have to look all that hard at this point, and you'll probably find some kind of sexual misconduct at McDonald's or that's approved by McDonald's or something. Like at this point, like God, it's fucking everywhere.
I love I love your tone because you're not even wrong, but you're so dead inside living here. You're like, bro, just open your fucking eyes. Like it's
I,
it
dude,
doesn't
it's
take that
unbelievable.
long.
Like literally, I feel like once any man achieves a certain level of fame or fortune, or both, it just the asshole trigger just starts getting pulled constantly. They're just pieces of shit for life.
To this day, I'm still waiting for dirt on Mr. Rogers, and maybe he really is just clean. But everybody,
Yeah,
I'm just
but that's the thing
waiting.
though, is like it's expected. It's
Yeah.
not like, "Oh, wow, I'm so surprised." It's literally like, "No, no, this was what we all expected."
Yeah. Yeah, just like Rey Mysterio should have expected to be betrayed again.
That's
Even
also
though,
true, yes.
really, it was more Dragon Lee that got betrayed in this context, because, like, he got the shit beat out of him, and then when they're all watching the tape of it happening, rather than keeping an eye on Carlito, they're apparently so transfixed
That's
by
so
the footage, he gets the backstabber on him again after throwing him into Ray. Like, I'd say you can't write this shit, but somebody literally did it. I'm so grateful they did.
that's also true, yeah. Someone literally wrote this, and it was approved and sent through and put on TV.
Most importantly, though, it was approved by my face, because goddamn. But
I
yeah,
mean, your stamp of approval might be the most meaningful stamp of approval that WWE can possibly obtain.
that is, at least in the last 3 minutes, the most correct thing that you have ever said, and I am so grateful.
Wow.
So yeah,
My last 3 minutes self thanks you.
so yeah, Carlito apparently is in. Dude, I honestly hope that Judgment Day goes on long enough for Rhea to come back and just be like, "What the fuck?" Like,
She just comes back and immediately kicks Carlito out.
and then, like, honestly, if the first thing she doesn't do if the story is going where I think it's going is hit Dom with a riptide and then just be like, "Get the fuck out of my house to live Homewrecker Morgan," I don't know what we're doing here. Um, so
Oh
yeah.
my god.
Let me just ask you to check in with you in your face, whose opinions are also just muy caliente, since we're kind of keeping with the fucking LWO and Judgment Day and just being multicultural here, because being a heel is universal. Do you feel like Judgment Day will last long enough for Rhea to return, or do you think it's going to dissolve sooner than that?
They have to. They have to last long enough for her to at least return and be the one to end it. Like, we can't have the whole faction dismantling before she comes back, because she can't be, basically Rhea can't be without agency in the dismantling of the Judgment Day, in my opinion.
That's yeah, yeah. I think that's a very thoughtful, yeah, just agreeable view. Um, Not much to say on the SmackDown side as far as matches. Apparently, DIY won something, so they may be getting lined up for another shot down the road. Wish I cared. Already talked about Jade and Bianca and Cody and Logan. I know Orton beat Carmelo and what was said to be a really solid TV match. I wouldn't know. Did you
Yeah.
see this? Do you have any thoughts
Uh,
about this?
no, I didn't watch it either.
Fair enough. Okay. I'm
Mom,
really
you
glad we're on
watched
this.
it. How was the Randy Orton versus Carmelo Hayes match? There you go.
Her laugh could cure cancer. I love it. So yeah, Orton does his whole three most dangerous letters promo, and I'm like, dude, get a fucking tone. Like,
He's had the same tone for like 15 years at this point.
it's like either have the second, or actually at this point, third puberty, or don't. Like, I'm waiting for something to happen here. So when
His
it
second
comes
puberty was in like 2007 when he shaved his head and got a faction.
I know I'm angry all the time because it's IED. No, it's hormonal imbalance. Clearly, learn the difference.
Take a fucking med.
So true. But legal though. We don't want you to get suspended again. So we have Sol Ruka beat Izzy Dame to qualify for NXT
Wait, are
Women's
we on
North America.
NXT now?
I just figured with SmackDown there really wasn't much time, unless you had something you wanted to
No, it just
venture
was
into.
jarring. I just wasn't ready for it.
It's okay. I should have prepped better. That's on me. But yeah, switching gears to NXT. I didn't mean to say that. I just kind of blanked on it. But yeah, we had women's North American title qualifiers. Soul beat Izzy, who's trying to navigate without Kiana, who I will say about Kiana real quick. She did have a segment with Awesome Truth and Pierce where she kind of introduced herself to Pierce. Seemed to
God, I
really,
hate the way her character's written on Raw already.
what vibes it gave me? I want I want to remember, was it Eve Torres? Because yeah, Eve Torres, not Eva Marie. Eva Marie was, of course, all red, everything. Eve Torres was, Gracie family, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, but also, like, had the Zack Ryder storyline. But I remember when she was like that assistant to John Laurinaitis and she wore the glasses and everything, and she kind of carried herself more professorially or whatever.
Yeah.
I got that kind of vibe low key from Keanu. I'm not saying they're doing that beat for beat. I'm just saying that was the closest like comparison that I could think.
I just don't
Um,
like that she like has to like ham fist her little catchphrase into everything, which isn't really even a catchphrase. It's just like her gimmick. Because like at the end of her whole little shtick of what she was saying, she said, "I'll show you why I am the 1%." And it's like, stop, stop. If you have to use a fucking catchphrase, use it naturally. Don't say everything you want to say and then slap your catchphrase at the end of it and hope it works.
LA Knight does that too, right? Just kind of get a
Of
baseline.
course, yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah, yeah. Fuck him. Um, so I am excited to see her in the ring again, though. She's so good in the ring. I do worry that with how stacked the Raw Women's Division has gotten, she could very easily get lost in the shuffle. So
Yeah.
I'm still worried about that. I do wonder though if they're gonna try and make her more character focused by keeping her close to Pierce, like an assistant or whatever. Which again, the closest parallel I would think if they do that would be even her time with Laurinaitis, on screen.
Oh
Uh,
God.
Dude, I know. But I thought Eve did well for what it was for her part. It's just, Laurinaitis is a fucking dirtbag.
Right. No, I
Um,
wasn't saying oh God about Eve. I was saying oh God about the shit that's come out recently about Laurinaitis.
has more stuff come out that I'm not aware of?
Oh yeah, Teddy Long basically made it blatantly clear to everyone that John Laurinaitis is and was and always has been a racist piece of shit who tried to sabotage him.
Wow. Fuck him twice. Um, so yeah. Wow. Okay. Processing that information. But yeah, Soul qualifies. Good for her. Still wish Ariana would have had a chance to qualify, but apparently she didn't do too well in the combine, which I
I
find
mean,
sus as hell. But okay.
when you're a lady, you don't think quite as much about athleticism.
You know what? You're right, Ashton. You're right. All right. Um, I will say too, the family continues to grow on me. I'm liking what they're doing
By the
lately.
way, before we do move on with the NXT review, did we skip Bianca Tiffany because we didn't want to talk about it or because we forgot about it?
Really, I just didn't think there was much of it. She just beat Tiffany. I mean, the only thing we're talking about with Bianca, I kind of feel weird talking about because it doesn't really seem to be my business. Because I know there were like pregnancy rumors kind of floating around. I don't know.
Yeah, because
Go
fucking
for it.
Montez's ass updated his Insta bio to say that he was a father of three instead of two.
Yeah.
And there was like a bunch of like advertisements for the Bianca Tiffany match that got removed. And like at first people were like, oh, Tiffany's being punished for the fucking racist thing she put up on her Instagram story. And then people were like, oh, wait, no, actually, WWE doesn't give a fuck about that. Bianca might just be pregnant. And then it turned out that none of that was true and the match happened anyway.
Yes. What a tumultuous turn of events. But
Anytime
yeah,
that we think WWE is going to have morals, we just need to remind ourselves, no.
yeah, that's true. The easiest rule of thumb ever. Um, and I will just say this, dude, just to put a fine point on it. Tiffany not advancing in this, they're priming her for Money in the Bank. I have been committed to that for a while now, as you know, and I have not.
Thanks. I hate it.
Me too. I have not changed course on that, even though that briefcase should obviously belong to Chelsea Green. I'm only going to do half. Um,
Chelsea.
God damn it. So
I
yeah,
just love Samantha and Chelsea both. I
they're
want a
both just
sitcom with both of them as the main stars.
I mean, YouTube does sitcoms all the time. Come on, WWE. You're leaving money on the table here.
Piper can be
Uh,
there too, I guess, but like she's third wheel, so clearly.
yeah. Get aboard the Chel Pip train. Choo choo. Fucking, I love her so much.
Oh Lord.
But wow. I have never. It's been a while since I've seen your mom be that out of pocket, and only halfway so. Because I mean, the first half of the statement, absolutely correct, but then that other half, what the puke, man.
I
But
think the thing that offends me most is that she lumped Chelsea in with Tiffany.
ew.
The nerve.
Um,
The fucking nerve.
Agreed. Agreed. Um, so the family are having a nice little meeting with Ava, and Ava's like, "So guys, where was that referee? Forget about it. It's all right. We just told him, hey, we got this." And long story short, she doesn't take away the Heritage Cup matchup. And they pay the $2,000 fine that she does institute right on the spot, to the point where Ava was like just looking at it like, what the hell? I just didn't expect the money to be produced that fast. And Tony's like, you're tough, but fair. When I tell you these segments are making my inner Italian jump the fuck out, I'm doing the fucking
We should
hand.
remind our audience right now that John here is a Jersey Italian. Like,
Yeah.
this is
And
literally in your pocket, bro.
I'm looking at Ava about to take away this match, and I'm thinking like, "What are you, a stunada? What are you doing?" So I was definitely feeling things, but then when the fine was paid, and it was literally just forget about it. I was cool. I was cool. I was like, okay, we're doing good things. This makes me happy in ways that I can't even describe,
I
and
love that the family is finally actually doing mob shit. It's amazing.
yes, yes,
It's weird
yes.
that they didn't start doing this when Tony was going after the world title, and it's the Heritage Cup that's bringing it out of them. But whatever.
Yeah. Well, because, Charlie didn't pay his debt and,
I guess there's
learn
something about that word heritage that makes them like, oh yeah, guys, we can't forget our heritage.
all the way back to Ellis Island over here. So
You know,
yeah.
I got some ancestors that were related to the great Al Capone.
Oh my God. Well, I can tell you that for Charlie's indignance, I hope his mother's sauce never clings to her pasta. Fuck yourself.
Wait,
So
isn't it supposed to clean the pot? What?
exactly. So I'm saying I hope her pasta never comes out good and her sauce is mid. That's right, Charlie. What are you gonna do about it? Not a damn thing,
But I
because
thought
for
your wife's
English people,
Charlie.
food. Well, yeah, I mean, I did, but then he decided not to pay his debt to the family. And so what? We're
Oh,
gonna we're gonna fucking bend the knee to
so
a
your
guy who's
loyalty to the family supersedes your fandom of Charlie Dempsey?
you're goddamn right. Why should I have to bend the knee to a guy whose idea of a delicacy is baked beans with a side of toast? This fucking Fugazi doesn't
That
even
is a
know what he's
very
doing.
UK meal. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's right. I called somebody out while turning up, and I wasn't even incorrect. Fear my fucking power right now. And so after that, I will say who I continue to like is OTM.
I
Um,
like OTM too. Yeah, them. I like them and Idris Inofe and Malik Blade as well. I like all four of those guys.
Javara's got to pop me in the chat there.
Oh, with
Um,
the Gabagoo.
kind of doing the hand gesture, yeah. Fucking hell. Let me ask you though, man, because like, okay, so we both like OTM. We think Jada Parker's solid. Focusing on Idris and Malik though, are we afraid that the story just isn't going anywhere? Because
Yes.
they're just still like losing, and I thought that they would have done something different by now. Not even
I'm also
necessarily
just
winning.
again like I know we've kind of said this before, but not a fan of the white savior angle here.
Yeah, yeah. And she's not really doing much saving though is the problem,
Yeah,
because
that's
like
also true. Yeah, like white savior where?
exactly. I didn't want all three of these people to be mid together. I still look at Idris and Malik as future tag team champions if NXT has the
Dude,
interest.
literally, honestly, if you now this is me thinking too much like mid 2000s Vince McMahon, but like
Yeah.
you could literally take Idris and Malik and take them off of all TV for like 2 or 3 months and then air some vignettes on Raw or SmackDown of them with a completely different gimmick and immediately push them to Raw or SmackDown tag gold. And I wouldn't blink an eye. It would be completely seamless to me because they have the look, they're good enough in the ring, and if you let them keep Brinley as a mouthpiece, they'd be good enough as far as the talking goes. They would be like a new Eminem almost.
One, I agree with you. Two, that just makes me think about Ashanti and Cedric, which where the fuck are they SmackDown? Come on now.
That's a great
Uh,
question.
I really want to see them debut because, dude, you got to understand from my perspective, and I think you and I have good reason to feel this way given our collective fan experience. When you're like airing vignettes, but then you don't do anything, I'm just waiting for that release notice where it's like we just decided to
No.
but they drafted them,
Yeah.
so I'm like, you don't just like verbalize them in a draft. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just waiting for SmackDown to do something.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, OTM win. Would not mind these guys getting back in the title hunt. I do think they're getting better, which is also another good thing.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm definitely a fan of these guys, but not as big a fan as I am though of Lash motherfucking Legend. How do we feel about her qualifying for the ladder match, beating Ivy Nile, which seems like a bigger deal only because Ivy is featured pretty regularly on Raw. I feel like this is a good rub for Lash.
Yes, really, really good win for Lash. Really excited for her. Really happy that she got this win. It's one of those things where, like, in my mind, it was expected that she would be in the 6 woman ladder match, but then you see that she's against Ivy, and it's like, well, I don't know if Ivy should even still be going here because she literally got drafted to Raw, and it doesn't make sense. But like, if you think about it long enough, it's like, well, wait a minute. Ivy is a main roster superstar, so for Lash to beat her it should be considered like a big deal. So yeah, it's really cool for her. Happy for her. I don't necessarily expect her to win the Women's North American Championship, but if she did, I would be stoked. I would pop.
Bro, that's the thing. NXT Battleground could be so interesting if Trick retains the title, which I expect him to, and Lash wins the ladder match, given that their relationship's going over than the
New
on
power
screen.
couple, baby.
Dude, that's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying. I'll tell you, as Lash gets better and better, you're talking about somebody like I look at Lash because it's funny when you look at a women's division and you see who the architects are usually going to be, or to use an AEW term, as much as it makes me
The
cringe, the
pillars.
pillars are going
Yeah.
to be. Like I see Lyra for the New Age being a pillar, for example, just to put a name out there. But Lash, I feel like even if she's not a pillar, which I want to make perfectly clear, I think she has the potential to be, she's going to be one of those people that is just so understated throughout her career. Like she'll succeed, and I think a lot of people will know how good she is, but she'll never have like made that level that a lot of people feel she could have. She's immensely talented. I hope that the company really doesn't miss the boat on her.
I mean, I feel
Um,
like she's already improved pretty significantly.
yeah,
Because you got to remember, she was just kind of starting to be like used on TV at all while you and I were still watching NXT when it was still NXT 2.0, and Braun was champion, and then he dropped it to Ziggles, and then we stopped watching.
yeah,
Yeah, that was right around the time that they were starting to use Lash as like a talk show host, and she wasn't really wrestling yet. So the
right.
fact that that was like, I think that was like 2 years ago, and the fact that she's come this far already is pretty damn impressive.
Absolutely. No, I am so excited for her future because again, I really see her either being a pillar or just one of those people that is just so consistently good that fans would want her to be.
Yeah.
Just she always delivers.
Yep.
And Javon Evans continues to deliver. My God, yeah, what a talented dude this man is. Faced Oro Mensa because Dar supposedly got hurt and
Staged an attack on himself, in my opinion.
yes, and you're probably correct. Therefore, the tone was warranted. Because we know he's fucking fake hurt ass.
Fucking
And
fake hurt ass.
yeah, and
Oh,
yeah,
that's funny.
Lash goes to grab a chair at one point. Then Trick comes out, and Lash just gets transfixed. She drops the chair. She's like, I don't know nothing about that, but you literally just grabbed it. So, like, what's going on there? And yeah, it was a competitive matchup, but ultimately Javon wins with his finish, which seems like a top rope kind of corkscrew splash in a way. It looks
Yep.
really nice. Um, so yeah, I'm excited for him. I just really look forward to the first big angle that he's a part of, and he's kind of tangentially a part of this because again, Dar kind of threw him under the bus, like, oh, maybe he attacked me. But the first really big storyline that we see Javon in, where he gets to show more of that personality beyond the in ring, that's going to be where I can really properly gauge his stock in the company, especially being so young. Like, I obviously want to give him a grace period too to work those things out. I mean, hell, even look at a career like Mark Henry, right? It took him forever to find Hall of Pain, his greatest character ever by far, his greatest gimmick. So like I can give Javon a lot of room, for the personality wise. And I already like him because we've already said that he's kind of like the wrestler for the Zoomers. And it works. Um so obviously because I was checked out this week, I missed some interesting things. Apparently Wes Lee had an in-ring promo segment. Did you see this? And do you have anything to say about this?
Well, it wasn't just Wes Lee, unfortunately. Wes did talk, and he talked about how he wanted to get his North American title back. And then Oba came out, which was also cool. And Oba, dude, Oba, holy shit, he is so fucking good on the mic. I love. I think
I
he
did see a
is.
snippet of that, yeah.
I think he's just my favorite NXT performer in general. Like overall, he's just my number one.
I
Which
mean,
obviously we're gonna do Fave Fives, I think in like August or something. But like, just right now, oh my god, Oba is the fucking man. He's so good.
first of all, you have impeccable taste, sir.
I just love him so much because like to me, I think. it's wild to even say this because of where we know Batista ended up, because Batista is like a literal Hollywood superstar right now. I think Oba is further along in his wrestling career right now than Batista was at the same point in his career.
And I would agree with you.
Because like
Dude,
I know the reason I'm even bringing Batista up is because I consistently compare them, because like we've talked about how like Oba reminds me of a Black Batista. Like he's got that size, that natural like likability and charisma, the power. It's very Batista-esque, and he feels like this larger than life star and a main event talent just right away. Like you don't even need to think about like, oh yeah, he's gonna be a United States champion. Like no, this dude's a world champion or bust, just like Batista was, right?
yeah.
And like Oba's been wrestling for like a year, not even, and he. I mean, you compare 2024 Oba Femi to even like 2004 Batista, which was a few years in, and I feel like Oba's further ahead. I just think Oba is so fucking good right now. His mic skills are actually really good. He is such a good talker. He's so eloquent, and the way that he even like phrases things. It kind of makes you think like, damn, he's kind of got a point there, even though he's saying shitty things to people we like. It's like, shit, man, he's kind of right.
I don't tell that man he's wrong.
I know, but
Like,
I just love it though. I just
yeah.
love that this big, intimidating motherfucker comes out and then speaks facts. It's like fuck. It's like a less spiteful version of Drew.
Bro, I say this with all the sincerity in the world, and I'm not even gonna turn up. I'm gonna be the straight man here. Opa's the type of dude that being as good as he is for as young as he is genuinely raises the goddamn bar.
Yeah.
Because I look at how good he is already, and I gotta be honest, that sucks for everybody else because now any young person that comes in, like, he's gonna be the standard I think about. And I know that that's
You
not
know what the
fair.
word is that we use in like draft scouting communities?
What's that?
He's generational. He is a generational prospect.
I would agree with that. And notice how we as fans are saying that when guys like MJF have on the mic to explicitly call themselves a generational talent to kind of match his cadence. It's like, no, like Oba, what I love about Oba too,
I'm
while I'm on
sorry,
that
but
same
if you're under 6 feet tall, it is impossible for you to be generational, because something that makes you generational is size. Like that contributes to you being generational.
I love how even though you didn't say it, we still found a way to come back to gain height.
Well, no, I'm not trying to be cheeky about it though. Like it's
Yeah.
literally like pro wrestling size has to matter, because the whole point of pro wrestling is people have to be willing to spend money to come and see things that they wouldn't be able to see walking down the street. And you can see a lot of regular sized people walking down the street, but you're not going to see a lot of big, tall, superhero esque people walking down the street. That's the like the line between whether people will or will not separate money from their wallets. You know what I mean? Like I
Right.
know it's an old school mentality, but at the end of the day, if you give me the choice between someone who's really talented and 6'5" and someone else who's equally as talented and 6 foot tall, give me the 6'5" guy 10 times out of 10.
No, and especially for younger audiences. Like, I know this is an atrocious comparison when compared to like our God King Obafemi, but I'll never forget when, as a kid, when Kali debuted on that one SmackDown and just destroyed The Undertaker. Like, I was mystified. I'm like, this dude's huge. What the hell? And I think their biggest mistake
Well,
was trotting him out every week.
right.
Like,
Well,
if
and
you,
that's the other
yeah,
thing too, is like Kali wasn't even good at what he did. But once you get to a certain size is literally all you need as a selling point, and people will pay to see you. Even if you're not good at anything else, if you're big enough in pro wrestling, people will pay to see you. And that's the whole point of the game, is to get people to pay to see people.
and Oba, that dude is money to
Yeah,
me.
that's the thing. Like Obafemi
Yeah.
isn't just size. The size is one trait of his that makes him a fucking stud, but it is far and away not the most important or the only trait that makes him a stud. The dude has put in the work. The dude is huge, and I don't mean height wise, I mean like muscle bound, huge, and strong as hell, and charismatic, and incredibly good on the mic, which is something that I might have even been underselling him on prior to this week. I feel like this week really opened my eyes to how damn good he is on the mic, because I feel like he killed it in his promo with Wesley this week.
Well, you know what's so funny about Oba? Because there was a point I wanted to make when I brought up MJF, and then you kind of ran with the ball about the whole like, if you don't have the size, you're not generational. But I remembered what I wanted to say, where it's like, with Oba, it's really just this quiet confidence. Like he doesn't have to go out. I feel like so many heels have to say what they are, and Oba does that too to a degree, but he doesn't say anything he hasn't already proven. Like anything he says about himself, we've already seen it. I mean, dude, he fucking power bombed Ivar at Spring Breakin' and just pinned him right in the middle of the ring,
Yeah,
clean.
yeah.
Like this dude handles business, man. And like that,
And like
that's
Javaris is in chat saying that he couldn't really give a fuck about size because you could be big and absolute ass. And like, that's you overlooking my point. You guys are overlooking my point. My point isn't size is all that matters. That's never been my point. Size isn't the only thing that matters. I just think that we need to stop pretending that size doesn't matter at all. Like,
right.
size needs to matter, in my opinion. I don't think that it's the most important thing. I don't think that's the only thing. I just think that it needs to be a thing. I think we need to like care about size. Like if you're 5'8", like if you're fucking, Tyler Bate, for example, I'm never gonna buy you as a main eventer. Never.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
as talented as you are, if you can become like the perfect wrestler, if you're a 10 out of 10 wrestler, your ceiling is still always going to be Brian Danielson. And if you put Brian Danielson in the ring with a Randy Orton or like a 6'5" guy who's also shredded and incredibly good at what he does at wrestling, I'm never going to be able to buy Danielson beating that guy 10 times out of 10 or even 9 or 8 times out of 10. Because at the end of the day, like, when you've put a talented big guy against a talented small guy, more often than not, you're going to believe the talented big guy is going to win. The problem is that you guys are just assuming that as guys get bigger, their talent level goes down. That's not what I'm talking about, though.
Right. Because to me, I just take it that it just goes hand in hand with that presence that somebody can have. And
Yeah,
Oba, being as tall as he is and being such a great talker, which I really want to emphasize from my side, the way this dude commands a stick as young as he is like unfair at this point to other people, because it's like the big thing I try and give younger competitors the grace to do. Because again, even a Mark Henry with the Hall of Pain gimmick, and he was on the older side at that point, but once he found that voice with that gimmick, he was cutting some of the best promos I would see week to week on SmackDown. But Oba's already doing that right now on NXT. And they could say, oh, we're trying to make it a third brand again or whatever. But I still look at it as that developmental territory, because you didn't see anybody getting drafted to NXT during the draft. People from NXT were being taken from Raw to SmackDown. So you can't say one thing and then present another, is just kind of my point.
right. And
And
like, here's my thing
yeah,
too: is like people talk about how like Conor McGregor is one of the best MMA fighters in the history of UFC, but like, what happened when he tried to move up to welterweight?
yeah, exactly.
That's my whole like, UFC is actual real life fighting, and they have weight divisions, and it's for a reason. It's because talented small guys can't beat the talented big guys. And if they can, it's rare, and it's typically seen as unfair. That's just how shit works. Like, I've even talked about this before. If we were even going to do like intergender UFC, you wouldn't want to divide it by, or I guess I should rephrase that. In my opinion, UFC shouldn't be divided by gender. You shouldn't have, the women only wrestling the women and the men only wrestling the men. It should strictly be a weight thing. You should literally have, like, if you have a 130-pound woman, I think she should be allowed to wrestle a 130-pound man as long as they have like, testosterone testing and shit like that. Because like, then you don't even have to worry about thinking about trans issues at all. You don't even have to worry about it because you're not even looking at gender. You're literally just looking at hormones and weight, and that's fucking it. And like, when it comes to the size stuff, again, like, they have weight divisions for a reason. It's there for the fighter's protection. It's literally like, if you just had one big division in real fights, the biggest people would always hold all the championships because they're the people who have the natural advantage in fighting. Like, even within divisions, typically the most successful fighters are the people who naturally have the gift of arm length. It's literally reach. Like even in boxing, historically, the most successful boxers are the ones with freakishly long arms relative to their height. Like it's like that's what I'm talking about. Like in wrestling, taller people are more believable as world champions than shorter people. I'm not trying to say that short people shouldn't wrestle or that they are jokes or that they are bad at this or that they can't ever be world champions. I'm literally just making the point that like big is good in wrestling. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of pile on to your point very quickly, I mean, you know that I've been watching slightly more boxing because I get together with Angel to watch Now Ya Inoue, who is legitimately the best boxer in the world right now per a lot of people's rankings because
Right.
he keeps winning. You know, he keeps moving up in weight classes. You're not going
Right.
to see him stay at a weight class and
Well,
then
yeah,
fight
and
a
we've
fight
seen
a
that.
heavyweight.
We've seen that
You know,
happen with guys before, and eventually he's going to hit that wall where he just can't hold up against the guys that are so much heavier than him.
right? But I mean, for what he's doing right now, cool.
Hell
But
yeah.
people keep like putting disrespect on his name, like, oh, fight this person, that person. But like some of the names they put are in a completely different weight class, and like
Yeah.
that's not believable. So
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
and that's the thing. Like, have him get up to that weight as best he can, and then let's do it. It's the same way here. Look, I mean, when I tell you that I've gone back recently and watched like Ruthless Aggression Era stuff and this and that, I can't tell you. And we've been saying this for years. All due respect to Ray. Ray is legitimately. I have my fun, but I won't deny the longevity he's had and the good that he's done with that
Oh my
longevity.
god,
Like,
yeah.
I mean,
Well,
yeah,
and that's the
he's
thing too is like with
yeah,
Ray, I think what really sets him apart is that when he was like one of a bunch. Like there was nothing special about Rey Mysterio in WCW. When Rey Mysterio was in WCW, he was a dime a dozen. There were so many other luchadors in WCW that did all the same shit that Ray did that he wasn't special there at all. He was just kind of a dude. He was just one of the cruiserweights, you know? But
yeah,
when he got to WWE marketed him differently. WWE made him into a big deal, and he was one of one. There weren't any other masked luchador wrestlers in WWE at the time.
right, right.
So like it was his uniqueness that made him successful. And I think that most of us would even agree that in his world title reign and the build up to it and even a little bit afterwards, the idea that like they kind of gave him the Cena treatment where he would be like overbooked to the point that like everyone knew he was going to win a match and they would try and make him the underdog anyway because he's small.
Right. Yeah.
And that got obnoxious and people got tired of it and bored with it and annoyed with it.
To be fair, Foster, I was going to further clarify my statement, and just mention 2006 specifically when he was just so OP because of
Right.
the memory of Eddie,
Yeah.
and even like being way too competitive with the likes of like Mark Henry and Khali. Now, granted, in his feud with JBL leading up to Judgment Day that year, he did lose those matches. He did lose to like Mark Henry and Khali and all those people. But then I know sometimes he's ran those matches back and he's won because of just like, like I think he beat Khali by count out at one point. I'm like, I just don't
Hey,
believe that.
you know what
So
though? If you're gonna have a really small guy like that beat a really big guy, I think that if there's any way to make it believable, it is to just not have him actually pin the guy. It's like if you're gonna have him win at all, have it be some creative thing that he does to trick the guy and outsmart him rather than actually beating him physically. That makes sense.
yeah, that's agreeable. But to get back on message here, yeah, Oba's fantastic, and
He is.
ultimately, Briggs tries to restart business with Oba as does Ivar, which that's most perplexing
Uh,
to me because you
dude.
lost.
Well, not only did Ivar lose to him one on one, Briggs was the one that ate the pin in the triple threat at Stand and Deliver.
Yeah,
Like it's just absurd. And like you have these two guys who've both literally been pinned directly by Oba in the last month and a half. And then you have Wesley, who has never faced him before, never got an opportunity at the North American title that he earned before getting injured, and has just returned from injury and is clearly in fighting shape to be able to have the match. So
yeah,
they decide like, oh yeah, these three people all have equal valid opportunity. They should all be able to get the shot. It makes no sense at all.
yeah. And so, Wes, being the charitable person he is, because he's a far better man than me, because I'd be looking at these people and being like, you got pinned and you got pinned. I literally gave my health for that championship. I get the next shot. He's like, oh, Oba, make it a fatal four way. And Oba's like, Oh, silly Wes. That's the difference between me and you. I'm not doing that.
It's
You
so
can all fight amongst
good.
yourselves.
I
Yeah.
loved it. I also loved just in his one-on-one promo with Wes, where he was like basically like dressing down Wes, and he was like talking about how you're great. Oh God, what was the exact line
I
that he
think he
said to
said, didn't he
Wes?
say to him, like, I'm the mountain you can't conquer? Because he said,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. He's oh, I loved that line so much. Because he even gave Wes credit. And not only was it the line, it was his delivery on the line too. Because that to me is what makes a talker special. Because anybody can have amazing lines written for them and then memorize the line and say it. But it takes a good promo to be able to deliver it in a way that's convincing and believable. And boy, did Oba deliver. That was fantastic.
Dude, I, I'm just saying this because of what we saw in kayfabe, like just this past draft, and what a big deal they made about Bianca being the number one draft pick. I'm not saying Oba should be the number one draft pick, though I would not scoff at it. He needs to be a first round draft pick next year.
Dude,
Like,
honestly,
yeah.
if there is ever a draft going forward that Oba is not a champion in NXT during, he should be the first overall pick.
So you would go that far?
I
Because
would
I
absolutely
would,
well because
yeah,
if they continue
yeah.
to use the rule of champions being frozen and not being draftable, 100%. Obo, I mean, dude, absolute like unless there's like a rare exception where like Roman Reigns is eligible to be drafted and like he's not a champion and he's in the draft pool, then obviously you take him first. But like if Oba is available and one of those weird exceptions isn't, 100% Oba first overall. 100% yes. Because not only is it like, okay, it's kayfabe, it's a draft, you can do whatever the fuck you want, and that puts him over huge. But like, if you're thinking in terms of kayfabe, and you're one of Raw or SmackDown's like GM or TV network or whatever the fuck, whoever you want to convince your audience is doing the drafting this year, you want the next big thing. You want the next Brock Lesnar, the next Cena, the next Batista, whoever the fuck, and that's Oba. That's literally just him.
Yeah.
He
I
is
mean,
the real him. I'm sorry, Mello. Oba is the real him.
yeah. I mean, I agree with you on all counts. The only reason I tempered it a bit and just said first round, just in general, is because I don't know what WWE is going to want to do in that time. But again, if he was the first overall pick, that would put him over here. That would be like very similar in my mind to when they had Bauer defeat Roman Reigns on night one, his first night on the main roster.
Yes.
Um, Especially if now I don't know where we're gonna be in a year's time, but if you have Oba drafted first and then he would go and beat a top tier talent, I mean, my God, look, I hate Cody Rhodes with a passion, but if he really wanted to give back and do something good, imagine Oba being drafted first overall and then beating Cody the same night, whether or not he's the fucking champion. I don't think he would be at this point, at least in my mind, but just beating a top tier name, it would be like, okay, Oba Femi's somebody that we should be paying attention to, which yeah, you should. So I'm thrilled for this dude. I'm thrilled to see him winning. I'm thrilled to see him thriving. He's such a believable champion. The way he carries himself. Again, I go back to because I know, and I was a part of it for a long time, the hype train. But when the veil got ripped off for me with MJF, I'm like, oh, this guy's just a tryhard. Oba, the way he carries himself, and the aura is the word just to package it nice and neat. The aura is everything I think I wanted MJF to be, and I believed he could be. But that ship, it didn't sail, it just sunk. This ship though is sailing and it's sailing gloriously. I talk about how I can't wait for Braun to dominate WWE for like 10 years, and I still think he's gonna have a dominant career. Hopefully, I'm still curious what they're gonna do with this whole him not being in the King of the Ring, what they're lining up for him. But I'll tell you, it's about to be a very competitive locker room. You want to talk about
Yeah.
the age of like Rock and Austin when they were competing with each other in terms of merch sales, pop, and stuff like that. I'm not saying we're gonna get something that epic, but it's going to be a more competitive age than we've had in a long time because Oba's going to be looking at Braun and being like, I could surpass you. And he can.
I mean, yeah, dude,
He
like
can.
you've been super hard in on Braun for a really long time, and he's been like top of your NXT list for forever. That's gonna be Oba for me for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. And dude, here's the thing. I do not begrudge you or anybody else that's in the Oba camp because I practically have a foot in both camps. I think I'm a bigger fan overall of Braun, but honestly, it's only because of the raw natural intensity. Like I just freaking love how explosive Braun is. But if you're talking about a complete pro wrestler,
Yes.
I can be judicious enough and I can be fair enough and I can overcome my bias enough to say that Oba's got this dude beat. Like I
Well,
love yeah.
the thing is though, like there's so many differences between them, and they're so like differently presented, and they have such different talents that I can't even agree with you that Oba just objectively has Braun beat, because Braun has so many like different things about him that Oba doesn't. Like, I'm sorry, like Oba obviously has incredible natural gifts, but like you're never gonna see him run the way Braun does.
Braun's a freak, man. Braun, I don't know what they're feeding that dude, but I wish I had some. And then, dude, when you think about how competitive this age is going to be as far as top guys go, then you've got Trick Williams in the
Dude,
mix.
I know. That's the thing. Like, we've been heaping so much praise on Oba, and then we started talking about Braun, and we haven't even talked about the one that's probably going to be the most successful out of all of them, and that's Trick fucking Williams.
I mean, bro, I actually found the video that they NXT already aired leading up to Stand and Deliver of the fan that played the saxophone on the street corner
Oh,
of Trick's
nice.
theme. I found the actual video and like I got goosebumps because you could tell how much it meant to that fan, and Trick just seemed so genuine. Like I don't know, I'm gonna assume that that's just who he actually is. But even if it wasn't, as horrible as that is for me to say, I'm like, this dude knows how to be a top guy. He gave
Yep.
this dude his moment. He thanked
Because
him for
don't,
it. He was so
I
personable.
dare you to tell me that that doesn't give John Cena vibes.
Yeah. Absolutely it does. Absolutely it freaking does. This dude's ready, man. He is absolutely
Because you
ready
can't tell me
to
that
take that
someone
fucking
couldn't have
spot.
been out there on Bourbon Street playing that, and you couldn't imagine Cena doing the same damn thing that Trick did. Exactly the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, those 3 guys and Carmelo could heat up at any time.
Yep.
Because I think he's in an interesting pocket right now, but I think he's still kind of a heel. I'd be curious how over Carmelo would get if they
Dude,
committed to a face run for
did
him.
you see the fucking backstage segment with Mello and LA Knight?
I heard about it, but I didn't watch
Oh
it
my
because L
god, LA Knight is so fucking cringe, I swear.
I mean, that's practically like what powers his existence. He's like 99% pure cringe, and then the 1%'s like gas, like that Plankton joke on
Bro,
SpongeBob.
Mello talking about getting drafted in the first round, and LA Knight was like, "Oh yeah, well, can you tell me who the first overall draft pick was the year Tom Brady got drafted?" And it's like, bro's comparing himself to Tom fucking Brady, and I just, how do I even begin to list the things that are wrong with him comparing himself to Tom Brady?
Yeah, God.
Oh,
You know, I try
Christ.
not to take it out on fan bases because I mean, even with Charlotte's fans, I think we've been very judicious. But sometimes I resent how over LA Knight's become because of the fan. I'm like, look at what you've enabled. Look at what you've done.
Right?
Clean this
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, exactly. It's not even untrue.
I appreciate you having my back on that one because again, we're always very kind to like fans, but performers, it's always fair game, obviously, and it's like LA Knight fucking sucks. Speaking of suck, I'm gonna skip over a lot of this stuff. Quick question, just in case you did see this. Do we have any thoughts about Carly Bright? Because she apparently faced Lola Vice. I did not see
Oh,
this. This is one YouTube thing I didn't know.
I do have thoughts, but they're not positive. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I just wanted to check in.
So I watched NXT Level Up this week, and I actually liked her partner Kendall Gray more than her.
Okay, I'm unfamiliar with both, so
Yeah,
I'll
I
take your
watched
word for it.
NXT
Yeah.
Level Up this week, and Carly Bright and Kendall Gray teamed up, and they faced. Oh God, what was the name of the team they faced? Um, God, it was That's who it was. It was Brinley Reese, and her partner's name was Layla Diggs. And Layla was actually pretty cool too, but Kendall Gray stood out to me. I really liked her a lot, and I'm looking forward to seeing what she ends up doing in the future.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. I'll have to look into her, man.
Also, on
Um.
Level Up this week, we got Tavion Heights in a match against a big motherfucker named Jasper Troy, who I've never seen before.
Yeah, I need to check back in on Tavian, man, because I like him. I like him a lot, but it's been too long since I've checked in with him and seen him work. So I'm like, I want to kind of, get back on a good footing with that. So yeah, I want to check in with you on that. And then yeah, Heritage Cup. I actually watched the full match uploaded on YouTube, and I
I
will
did
say,
not watch this match at all. I actually dipped on it.
oh my god, so that means it's just me. So I guess to
You're
talk.
Knuff.
I squeed, but I had my crisp on, so sorry for
Oh,
those
we
of you that
didn't
were
get to hear the
deprived.
squee.
I know it makes you pop, but, I just deprived all of you because I too am a heel.
Yeah, you are.
So
Shit.
so I have to say, and I'm actually very curious about Foster's opinion, and I don't know if this is me trying to low key flirt with him, especially because Superior Paul has not been in the chats. Like, I'm thirsty. Somebody give me some water. But no, to talk with Foster about it, Foster, I don't know how you feel because I think you've been a fan of the Heritage Cup and just the Heritage Cup style for a while. I'm assuming I could be thinking of somebody else, and I profusely apologize if I am. But I actually felt like this is one of the best Heritage Cup matches I watched. I would even go as far as say it was one of the best Tony D'Angelo matches I watched.
Tony D
Just see,
won this, right?
he did. Which I think is
Ah.
something really cool to happen in the Heritage Cup. Like I like
The
Charlie
reason I
Dempsey.
like it is because of what the Heritage Cup has brought out of the family lately.
Yeah, dude, you're not even wrong. Um, but just to see Tony D just work, like just do the grappling and bring that background and really just stay with Charlie Dempsey like in that way was really cool to see. I vibed with this match. I mean, again, I was checked out, so this really counts for nothing. I want to stress that this is a moment where I'm actually not going to put over my own face. My opinion, as far as this week, really doesn't count for much. But this was my match of the week. I either that or honestly, I would say Io Shayna from what I saw. That's one, but this is one B for me. This was really good. Charlie, I think, still has a very bright future, but I don't mind them taking this away from him already, especially because he's protected because, oh, he didn't have Camp or Born with him until the very end of the match because they tried to do a run in. And to just see Tony D just work just the whole match was really cool. I mean, real freaking graps, baby. Like that's what I felt
Oh,
like we got here.
baby. Real graps.
Yeah. And
Oh, yeah.
I agree with your face, Foster. Surprise, surprise. He said the Heritage Cup matches are hit and miss for me. Same. But I love the pacing of this match. Agreed. And I feel like Tony wrestled really smart this match. Again, agreed. He even did some counters that I was surprised by. Like he countered one of Dempsey's moves at one point with a victory roll, and he got a fall for it. And I'm like, damn, like we're really seeing Tony in his freaking bag. And why I like this too, again, I'm only monopolizing this segment because Ashton admitted he didn't watch this. Otherwise, I'd love to know his face opinions. Although I can
Oh,
bring you in on this.
nobody minds. Everyone loves your voice.
I try and be considerate, okay, because I love your face. So, with that said, I can bring you in on this though, because why I like this too is I feel like because the Heritage Cup is just such weird structure and it's kind of a weird championship. I do like that it's an actual trophy because it kind of gives me that early progress vibes where we liked how they didn't have conventional titles and shit.
Oh, yeah,
But
the
I do
staff and the two halves of the shield.
exactly. Um, I just like when it's on people that can work, yes, because you have to stay in line with the rules and like the work rate of the matchup. But like it's also character driven because Dar's hilarious and Dar kind of defined the Heritage Cup. And I love the Tony, like he's a character, like literally, literally, he's something like out of a cartoon in the best way. I don't even mean that as an insult this time. Like I'm vibing with it again. It's kind of this pure joy, like pure joy that I haven't felt since some of the ridiculous gimmicks in the Ruthless Aggression era. Again, when it brings out my inner caricature Italian, where I'm literally just while the segments are happening, I'm like, forget about it. And who am I talking to? No one. That's the fucking point. Like, it's just there's no reason for me to do this, and I'm doing it fuck. So that's how you know how good it is. I love that it's on another character again because Dempsey's like okay, but I'm still waiting for him to really like find himself and hit his stride because I know it's in him. I believe in Dempsey, I really do. But this was like his first real test in the water. We're gonna put something on you, see how it works. And he wasn't bad with it by any means, but I'm still waiting for him to find his personality like his dad had. Because that's the thing about Regal that makes him an underrated GOAT in my mind. He was an amazing worker. I mean, go back and watch his WCW stuff. Go back and watch his stuff from '06, which is some of my favorite because that was before he teamed with Dave Taylor. Like, watch Regal's matches with London and Kendrick, guys that size, where Regal can really be Regal. Some of the best TV matches he had to me. Watch his TV matches with Benoit. Great worker. But also, go and watch his Raw Roulette match with Goldust, both of them. Go go and watch any comedy thing he did. Go and watch the promo where he's cutting on Thanksgiving and The Rock interrupts him, which I actually did watch this week. And Regal's facial expressions when Rock says, we're going to take the turkey leg and shove it up your ass. And Regal's face actually makes it seem like just hearing it, the turkey leg was being shoved up his ass. Amazing personality for fucking days. Charlie needs to find that because if he doesn't have a personality, he's not going to make it long. Because you had mentioned Danielson earlier. You know what the curse of Brian Danielson is? He ruined really good wrestling for everybody else that wanted to get over on that because not only did he do that, but he was one of the best talkers like of his era. So good luck, everybody else. If all you can do is a really convincing wrist lock, you're gonna need a lot more than that. So congrats to Tony D. I think it's going to be an interesting reign. The question though is who does he drop it to? Do you have any idea who he might
Ooh,
drop it to?
Tony D drops it to. Fuck! I really wanted to say Von Wagner, but he got released. That hurts.
I thought you were gonna say face and just give up, and I was gonna pop so hard.
I'm so sorry I didn't give you that shit.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm glad you're still thinking about it because I really thought you were just gonna concede and be like face, and then like, that's not an answer, but it is okay. And
um,
we didn't do it. So,
yeah. So,
oh, Subaru said Lexus King, and I hate how believable that is.
assuming he doesn't just drop it back to Dar, because Dar is still kind of lurking. He's still around.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously nobody expects Dar to win the world title.
right.
Hmm. Who's a good baby face? Because, well, I mean, is Tony D a heel, really?
I think they're babyface now, bro. I like
Okay.
yeah. Because he was
Okay.
honorable too. Remember, he took the honorable route against Iliad Stand and Deliver when Stacks offered him the Nux. And so Tony D at the very least as an individual is a babyface. And they're not gonna do no catch clause shit by having Stacks defend the cup. So if we focus on
No.
Tony D, yeah, he's a babyface.
Okay. So, I would say.
I really hate how much I'm like agreeing with Super Blue's rationale about Lexus Kings. They gotta give that dude something to make it seem like it's working. Fuck.
They need to give up on that, dude, is what they need to do.
I agree with you, sir. You're objectively correct, but it's WWE, so I don't know.
God. Fuck.
Super Bowl also just said Sean Spear. Make it stop. Do you have
No,
a name or
no,
is
I
it
don't think
face?
Spears is even. I don't think Spears is even remotely reasonable, honestly. Um, hmm. I'm looking at the roster, by the way, in case you're wondering why I'm taking so long.
Okay, because I've just been waiting for the face bomb because at this point the
No.
suggestions in chat I would take face. I would genuinely take face. But you still want to give me a
Oh
genuine name.
no, I'm not even gonna say that name. No,
Oh God, but you thought about it. Who was it?
I'm not saying.
Wow.
I'm withholding.
Damn. Like Alchemy be like, teach me, motherfucker, how'd you do that?
um, it's weird because I noticed a lot of the interesting possibilities are already kind of part of tag teams, or they're just faces.
Yeah,
Because a really interesting possibility, if Tony wanted to lean more into the heeldom, would be Javon Evans.
yeah,
That could be really cool. Um,
yeah.
maybe. I mean, you don't think they would just do Pete Dunne, right?
Oh, well, I mean, he's still on SmackDown, right? I haven't really seen him do NXT, but I
He's
guess
kind of
that's
he's listed as being on both NXT and Raw.
interesting. I mean, that's always a possibility, dude. I don't take that off the table. I don't take that off the table.
Because that's the
Uh,
thing is like, there's a lot of talent in NXT, but a lot of my favorites and a lot of the people that I would be rooting for to be that person are either in a tag team or babyface already.
yeah.
Like Duke Hudson was a name that came to mind, but he's in the middle of a thing now with Ridge Holland, and he's a
Oh,
babyface.
yeah. God, Riley Osborne would love another crack at it too, because he actually faced, I think, Gulak when he was still part of No Quarter Catch Crew and really just still a part of the company. Um, but yeah, I think we could just table this for now.
You know what?
And I
Though I will give an answer, and that is that I think that Tony D is going to have a really long reign.
I hope so, man.
I think that Tony D is going to hold that for at least 6 months, if not 9 plus.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
Like I
I
could
just
see. I'm
yeah,
sorry to cut you off one more time, but this is the last thing I wanted to say.
of
I could
course.
see Tony D holding that title until next year's Stand and Deliver.
I like that. I like where your head's at with it. I just what I was going to say really wasn't anything. It was just going to be that I really like what this cup has brought out of the family, similar to what you literally said earlier. I just agreeing with you there as well. I think it's been interesting. Hell, dude, honestly, speaking of the family, I'm surprised we haven't circled back to Stacks like in a more substantive way, trying to give Tony the Nux and then Tony not doing it, and they've just been cool, like no tension there. So honestly, to give an answer as well, because I think WWE likes Tony as a babyface right now. Wouldn't even be surprised if Stacks at one point got too big for his britches and he challenged Tony for it. Again, I have no reason to believe that just because, again, they're just cool right now. But, if it is going to be a long reign, like you said, that's a lot of time to pad out, which means a lot of things can change within relationships, both outside and within the family. So, I think you've got your options. But with that said, that was NXT. You guys already know I did extracurriculars. Before even asking about Ashton about extracurriculars, I do want to check in with you, bro, because I try and do this every week now. Anything from AEW you want to talk about this week? Oh God, there is. There
Oh,
has to be with you live like
just a
that.
little, just some little tiny stuff, just some little baby stuff.
Wait, is it genuinely a little? Because that tone.
No, no, it really is. There's not a
Okay.
lot. So
Okay.
we Chris Jericho said this is a teaching moment at one point, which I just feel like
Oh
was
God,
he's
yeah,
just ripping off Andre Chase at this point.
yeah.
Um, there was like a moment where Hook cracked Jericho in the back of the head with a mic, and it legitimately busted him open hard way.
Damn.
And then Jericho and Big Bill were beating down Hook, and Shibata came out for the save, and I was so happy to see Shibata.
Yeah, yeah.
Swerve beat
Um,
Brian Cage in a really solid match on Dynamite,
nice,
and then
nice.
after their match, Christian came out and called Swerve an absentee father, and I thought that was really gross because that's like some dog whistle shit.
Yeah, it is. Oh God, fucking AEW. AEW really is for just those white middle-aged guys that just like have those opinions. I just fuck.
Oh, since we kind of had another moment like this on NXT with Oba promoing his ass off to Wes Lee, we actually had another moment like that on AEW. Willow Nightingale out promoted Mercedes in their contract signing, in my opinion.
Wow. Yeah.
I
Good
loved
shit.
Willow's promo. If you actually get a chance to go back and check out Willow's promo on Mercedes at the contract signing, I would genuinely recommend it. It was fucking phenomenal.
You know what? I don't know why I'm so surprised because I've never been that impressed with Mercedes Mic game. Like her in ring has always been her bread and butter, and Willow just seems like a very naturally likable babyface.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will have to check that out. Good call, man. Good shout out. Um, anything else before I move on formally to our next segment?
Um. Yeah.
Okay.
So tonight, I actually did watch some of Dynamite or of Collision. I mean, and there was oh god, I just blanked. Oh yeah, Johnny TV was on tonight against Hook.
That's right, because they're doing like this FTW series.
Yeah.
Was the match good?
Yeah, it was pretty good. Johnny is always going to be Johnny. He's timeless. He's an evergreen, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
We also had Shibata versus Rocky Romero on tonight. That was pretty cool. But other than that, I mean, Serena Deeb did beat Anna Jay, but like, it's Anna Jay. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
Other than that, though, I would say that everything else on tonight's show is really skippable. I unfortunately missed the match that I most wanted to watch tonight, and it wasn't even because of like, oh, we have to go live and it's in the second half of Rampage. It literally opened Rampage and I was just distracted with other shit and I didn't realize that it was on. Kyle O'Reilly faced Lee Moriarty and I fucking missed it and I'm pissed about it.
Damn, that does sound like a genuine banger, to be
Dude,
fair.
I know.
Yeah,
I actually think I might try and go back and find that on like the TNT app or the TBS app or whatever the fuck, because
yeah,
that is a match that I would really like to see because that like those guys are both awesome.
yeah, bro. I do not blame you in the slightest for that.
I'm gonna
Absolutely.
leave it at that though. I'm not gonna continue torturing anyone with AEW stuff.
So, no, man, I think you were perfect as is expected from your face. But just to check in with you very quickly, any extracurriculars this week?
No, but I do have really fantastic news for everyone here that is going to be following Marigold with us.
Yes, and that is
Streamers are back fully for every match.
fuck yes. Actually, um, Actually, it's funny because I just want to share this tweet from Mario Gold. No big deal. I just thought it was interesting. They said notes for May 20th, Corrigan Hall. The ladies' zone is for female fans only. South side rows A through E, seats 1 through 17.
Yeah,
If a male is sitting in those seats, he'll be asked to move, and if no seats are available, you will have to stand. No refunds will be given.
I just
So
really hope that they don't use that as an opportunity to discriminate any trans people.
yeah, that's a fair point. Actually, we're gonna have to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, because I'm not really sure how Japan is like about trans people at all. I really don't know. I'm not trying to throw any accusations at anyone because I'm just completely ignorant to the subject. But I know if it was here in the U.S. and some like sports organization in the U.S. tried to be like, oh, by the way, women only, there would 100% be discrimination against trans women for sure.
yeah,
And not even just by the organization, but by some of the fucking WASP women that were sitting in the section.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely. So we'll have to keep tabs on that, I suppose. Yeah, Monty Gold, a lot of hype right now. And I'm very excited for it to say the least. So with that said, let us open up the forum for questions. Anybody have questions about this week in the world of wrestling? Again, dated from May 12th to the 18th. What questions do you have for us?
Wahoo!
All right, caster sales without fail. By the looks of the New Day, by the looks of it, the New Day will feud with the Final Testament. Do you think somebody will come to the aid of the New Day? If yes, who do you think will come? Um,
Oh,
I mean, I've given up on Big E returning. I think he's living his best life, which he
yeah.
deserves to do. I hate that his career ended that way, but what's important is his life didn't end that way. And
Yeah.
I gotta keep
I'm
perspective. I
just
know I
so
could be,
sad about it though.
I know I don't want to be selfish about it. And sometimes it's really hard not to be selfish because I really loved him. And like, I know that if that music would hit and it would come out, I'd probably shed a few tears, honestly. I've given up on that.
I
So
would
if anybody
bawl. I would sob.
yeah, dude, I think you and me both. Like, fuck, man. He's such a beautiful person. I'm just glad that he's okay. Love you, E. So I don't think anybody will come to their aid. If they do, maybe Jay Uso, but like, how do you even fit him into that when he's tied up with King of the Ring? So I'm just gonna say nobody. Um, Nobody for right now. Do you have any thoughts on this, Ashton? Because I don't want to like speed run questions without getting your
Yeah, I
input.
mean, I feel like somebody has to. My actual guess is Sami Zayn, and I think it's going to lead to cross challenging him for the IC title.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Super Blue, are you skipping SmackDown next week since it's in the Middle East? I mean, we'll probably still talk about it. We don't react to Raw or SmackDown though. We just cover it here. So like, I don't see yeah. I mean, I get why it has that Super Blue, but it's mainly just are we giving active coverage to something like live reacting? And we don't do that for Saudi shows, but just talking about it generally, like, yeah, we'll probably talk about the results after King and Queen of the Ring on the, in review, day of. So yeah. Foster, what do you think will be the finals for King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring? Is Gunther Orton a possibility for King of the Ring as a
Literally,
final?
that's my exact prediction for the finals. Yes.
Yeah, that's gonna
Yeah,
be
because
mine.
the finals for Raw are it's Gunther J Uso, and then for SmackDown it's Orton LA Knight.
Well, yeah, I'd say the Orton's got that. Unless you know what, Bloodline could cost Orton, but I hope they don't because I think it
Bro,
would really put Gunther over
it's so
heels to
funny
beat
because
Orton.
everyone keeps predicting, oh yeah, this guy could come in and screw that guy. Like I feel like I've seen like at least three different matches where people have predicted screw jobs and it just hasn't happened at all.
Yeah,
There's been one screw job and it was Jade disqualifying herself.
yeah. Oh, Foster with the correction. Apparently, it's Orton versus Tomatonga because Tomatonga beat LA Knight. That's right.
Oh my
You
god,
said you
that's
said
even
Orton was
better.
going to.
That's even better. That's even funnier.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Orton Gunther to keep putting Gunther over and building that Hall of Fame fucking resume. Hell
Yeah.
yeah. And Queen of the Ring, is it possible for it to just be Io Bianca? Because that would just
It
be my
100%
final.
is going to be Io Bianca, yes.
Yeah.
Because it's Io versus Lyra on Raw and Bianca versus Nia on SmackDown.
Oh God, please, Bianca, please, fuck, please, um,
Say please one more time.
please, um, God damn, could you tell I'm desperate?
Yeah, no, I
Foster,
get it though. I get it though.
Foster, do you think guys think the Trick Lash relationship could lead to a temporary alliance? Foster, I'll do you one better. I think this Trick Lash on screen relationship, kind of spilling over to on screen because we know that they're together IRL, could just lead to a Lash babyface turn personally.
I feel like it kind of already is, but they're slow burning it in a way that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, because you don't want to rush that shit, but you just want to keep teasing it just enough to keep it going.
Yeah.
So I'll ultimately say
Tease it,
yes to your
baby.
question, Foster.
Tease it.
Oh. Foster said, "Sorry, I'm an alliance between Metaphor and Trick." No way with Darzico.
Hell no.
No. I think
No,
character-wise,
because
no way.
again, like I'm convinced fully that Noam staged his own beatdown to both get out of having to fight Javon Evans and to basically try and like convert Lash and like get Lash's attention off of Trick and onto himself. And once Lash finds out that he faked it, she's gonna be so unhappy with him.
I hope she triangle snaps. I know she won't, but I hope she does. Um,
God damn it. Fuck.
I popped you with that amazing. Um,
No. No. You didn't.
wow.
You really didn't.
Well, wow. Okay. Um, so Caster said on SmackDown they called Tama a mercenary. Do you think God will eventually turn on Sokoa if someone shows up offering more money to them? Yeah, that's literally my plan to protect Foster the whole time. I'm going to offer God more money and be like, I pay you this. You've got to make sure that this beautiful man here doesn't get his throat thumbed. And they're gonna be like, okay, and they're gonna do it.
Dude,
Uh,
I have an exercise that I want you to do for me.
you're lucky I'm in a good mood because I'm so tempted to be like, no, but I'm too curious. What's
Right
the
here
exercise?
live, I want you to pull up the Anoa'i family tree Wikipedia page.
Okay. Okay. Family. Duh. Okay. I have it up. I'm looking at it.
All right, now I want you to do a control F and find the word Haku, Haku.
Yes.
And what does it say about Haku?
Uh Dwayne Johnson considers Haku his uncle.
So
That was
where
the one.
where is he on the family tree?
That's a good question. I only got one orange highlight when actually no wait, no, that's right, because I need to go down. Family tree. Okay, so Tamatonga, the adoptive son, biological nephew of Haku, but I'm still looking at the tree to try and find him. It's a bigger tree. Um,
It's a trick question. He's not on it.
oh my god. Okay.
But The Rock, Dwayne, considers him to be an uncle.
Right.
And Tamatonga and Tongaloa are literally not related to Roman beyond the fact that The Rock considers their dad to be his uncle.
Okay. Wow.
Do
Wow.
you see where I'm going with this?
That Roman might just want to kick him out because they're not actually blood and it's
Yeah, dude, I
bloodline.
think that like Curtis and I were actually talking about this earlier, and he kind of led me to this. I kind of think that maybe the people who were speculating that The Rock was the one pulling the strings here might be onto something because if it's The Rock who sees Haku as his uncle, Roman would never be like, oh yeah, let's bring in Tamatonga and Tongaloa, the sons of Haku, if he doesn't even consider Haku to be family. But The Rock fucking does. The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, sees Haku as his uncle.
Yeah.
Haku's not on the Anoa'i family tree, period. But The Rock, the one person, sees him as his uncle and has the power to bring people in who literally has hiring power. Like,
Yeah.
wow. And Solo's been
Ooh.
saying he's been talking to the tribal chief. We got to go back and watch the episodes of SmackDown and just watch the clips involving Solo and see if he ever acknowledges talking to Roman Reigns specifically or if he only ever says that he's talking to the tribal chief. Because maybe he's just saying he's talking to his tribal chief, The Rock,
Ooh, and then that would parlay into the Rock Roman Reigns matchup, I would assume, that
at
they want to
SummerSlam,
do.
hopefully.
Yeah, god damn, bro. You just five-headed this whole fucking thing. Yeah, I'm not gonna beat that. So, next question. Cerulu, do you think your theory of Jay joining Roman and Jimmy could lead to Jay versus Tama in the finals? Uh, I don't remember either one of us putting that forward as a theory. I think we've both been pretty adamant that we don't want Jay to forgive Jimmy and Roman.
Yeah, we've both pretty adamantly said that we do not want that to happen.
However, if that final does happen, for one, I weep because King Gunther, I've already like my palate's grown accustomed to it. But then that does convince
Your
me,
palate.
yes. See, that did pop you. Come on now.
Yeah, it
Um,
did. Yeah, it did.
but no, I think if they do that, it would lend credence to, oh man, they're gonna do the reconciliation and like Jay, no, sweet baby, no, PTSD, you don't have to do this. And of course it's just not gonna matter. So any other questions?
I miss Roman, by the way.
I miss him too, bud.
I know Abel does too.
Guys, I'm gonna call up instead of Darby, who should replace Eddie Kingston for Double or Nothing. Um
I don't even know what the context is. What?
I don't have context either because I'm just doped out of like AEW. Goddamn. Uh, a bus for a rematch? I don't know.
Well, no, the bus would be on the side opposite Darby since it's the one that hit him.
Oh, damn, you're right. Fuck. Can we just do it anyway? I mean, I already put in the effort to make the joke.
Oh,
Like, we
it's the
gotta
Elite
pretty.
versus Team AEW.
Ew. That
It's
sounds.
Anarchy in the Arena, right?
That sounds very masturbatory.
Do they just do an Anarchy in the Arena at every double or nothing now?
I'm assuming so. Yeah.
I think they do. Wait. Okay, yeah, they've literally done one each of the last 2 years. I gotta look back at 2021. Okay, they did Stadium Stampede in 2021.
What's the difference?
Oh my god, they did Stadium Stampede in 2020 too. And Double or Nothing was like the first ever pay-per-view of AEW in 2019, so they didn't do it. They didn't have that established tradition way back then. So now I got to
Okay.
look at 2024 to see what this match actually is. Anarchy in the Arena. Okay, so it's Okada, Jack Perry, and the Bucks versus Danielson, FTR, and it was supposed to be Eddie Kingston, but it's Darby Allin now. And he's asking who it should be instead of Darby.
Can I just say no? Like,
I just, I would say Claudio. Is
yeah.
Claudio an option? Where's Claudio on this? I don't think Claudio's on the card, so why is it not Claudio?
Yeah, where is Claudio? Is he in
Maybe
Switzerland
maybe
yelling
they made it
Ricola?
Darby so that it didn't just look like Team the Elite versus Team WWE former guys. Like,
We've got an
because
original in here.
it's literally all AEW originals versus Daniel Bryan, the Revival, and it would have been Eddie Kingston. Now it's Darby Allin, but it could have been Cesaro. Like, and the funny thing is, Team AEW is the baby faces in this, and the heels are the AEW original guys.
Oh my god. Ugh.
I'm sorry to make you groan, bud.
Caster asking, isn't it weird that Tom is in the King of the Ring and Solo isn't? Solo is just waiting to get his first shot at Cody's title, bro.
I
That's
think
just
Solo like almost has too much of an ego to even be willing to participate in King of the Ring. I think he's just like, "Huh, I don't need a tournament. I know I'm the king.
I have a taped fucking thumb. I will kill everyone here.
Fuck.
And I'm
You you might have popped me a little too much there.
and I'm the last tribal chief that you want to meet in these darkened alleys.
Oh
Uh
my god.
Fucking love Tobias. Anyway, I think I've had enough fun for one day. I'm gonna close the
Is there such
gate.
thing?
You know what? You're right. But yeah, I'm gonna
What?
close the gate and we're gonna go to our main event segment. High spots and low shots. I love you, Abel, because I know this is
Uh,
your favorite. You're my son forever, and I will legally adopt you and abscond with those papers like a Filipino politician.
oh my
Uh
god. Wait, was that a reference to something specific?
that was what I posted in politics Discord, unless was it the Philippines or was
Oh,
it somebody
oh,
else?
I didn't realize that. No, that was Taiwan, not Philippines.
Oh, Taiwanese then. Taiwanese politician. There we go. All right. My low shot. You know what? My low shot's LA Knight. Talked all that shit. You lost to fucking Tamataki. You lost to a jumping flatliner. A finisher
Dude, it wasn't
used
even
by
jumping. It was like sliding this week too.
yeah.
It was like
The,
a
uh, the
snap flatliner.
a finisher used by R-Truth, Shelton Benjamin, and MVP at different points in their career because that's a finisher for the black guys, said Vince probably.
And then Tama
So
Tonga steps in and he's like, I'm going to represent for the brothers.
yeah, you tell him no longer Maven. So
Was Maiden Samoan or black or something else?
he he, he was, I think he was just black. Yeah, yeah. So
Wow.
yeah,
So
LA
Tama
Knight.
Tonga really is like, never mind.
So yeah, like LA Knight
It's a whole
because
different type of appropriation. I don't understand.
yeah, LA Knight because he lost. He talks so much shit, and yet what have you done besides leave your best years behind in TNA wrestling?
And
So
walk like you've got a dump in your
oh yeah,
pants.
reminder Super Blue because I haven't said it in a while. The stick, 100% up that ass. Either remove it or I don't know, keep getting splinters. I really don't know. So who's your low shot friend?
Unfortunately, and this does pain me, but it also there's a certain level of satisfaction because he's a fake friend ass. It's Carmelo Hayes.
Oh, Tree, dude, he is the fakest of fake friend asses. It's you're so right. Yeah.
He got his ass fucking whooped by Orton. Bro, he he slapped Orton in the back of the head, like disrespectful as fuck. And Orton just had this look of like, oh, oh, okay, we're doing that today. I guess I got to teach this kid a lesson today. And you know how Orton does the spot where he does like the lifting back suplex on the announce table every
Yeah,
match?
yeah.
He did it twice.
Damn. I'm
The
gonna turn
first
you
time
into
it
the.
didn't break the table, and the second time he did it on the edge of the table, and it still didn't break.
He's like, I'm gonna make you bump like the third sing brother. Jesus Christ. He may be HIM, but he just lost to the three most
Oh my
destructive
god.
letters in all of WWE. RKO.
And meanwhile, everyone is in their seats saying, "Oh my god, we get it. Shut up."
I'm just having too much fun popping myself at this point. So anyway,
You know
my
what
high
though? It's
spot.
like for every 2 or 3 pops of yourself, you pop me too. So if you just keep rapid firing, you're gonna just keep getting me with random ones too.
I think the engine is starting to sputter a little bit though as we near the end of this week in review. I will say though, my high spot, forget about it. It's Tony D, the new Heritage Cup champion, a man that makes me proud to bring my inner Italian out and turn the volume way up to the point of being pure stereotype. But it's in private, so I'm doing it for me.
It's
Um,
not private when you're literally live on YouTube to people.
you know what? Fine. That's fair enough. But you know what? I regret nothing. So guess what? Even though I'm wrong, I'm doubling down because that's literally the way this country works. I'm right. Look outside. So Tony D is my high spot. Who's your high spot? I was about to call it your host spot. God
My
damn
host spot, I mean, absolutely not a hoe.
it.
Practically the opposite, actually. A beautiful woman who, from what I understand, is still actually married. It's Io Sky.
Yes. Yes. 100%.
Picked
100%.
up that dub against a very formidable opponent, whether WWE wants you to believe that or not, in Shayna Baszler. And, somebody that I'd like to see get pushed even more than she currently is. Shayna deserves a lot more, in my opinion. But yeah, Io got that dub. And, as much as I want to see Shayna get pushed more, not at Io's expense.
No. I was like, no, wait a minute. Let's wait a second right there.
Me.
All right.
Shayna Baszler deserves to get pushed more. WWE starts pushing her, including having her beat Io. Me. Not like this!
Yeah. No. No, don't do this to me. All right. Well, that was in review. And I want to thank everybody for joining us. Please leave a like if you out, subscribe, click the bell icon for notifications so you miss any of that TWitWoW goodness. Check out everything we're involved in the description box. Follow us on Twitter and Twitch because we are the best wrestling podcast in all the IWC. And yeah, if you're just here for in review, we'll see you next Saturday. Is next Saturday King and Queen in the Ring? And are we just gonna go live our usual time? Then, like, is there just a different protocol next week? Because I know sometimes there is for PLE, so I just wanted to check in with you.
I mean, the PLE is happening early in the day, remember? So I think we should just be good.
Yeah, well then just yeah, same time next Saturday. And for everything else, Stardom next week, we should actually have a full roster of matches because Ashton messaged me on Facebook today that Flashing Champions is a pretty stacked card. And yeah, I think from the carryover from the slate last week that we noped out on, but we only agreed on 2 matches, that'll give us a roster of 7 matches. So that should be nice and meaty for all of you Stardom lovers. And of course, Marty Gold is, on the horizon. So that'll be coming up as well. It's going to be an exciting time in the TwitWoW community. And so we thank you all for being a part of it. Until then, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Be good to yourselves and each other. Tune in. Peace out.